Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Post. Our next guest describes herself as a marketing innovator with experience working at startups and large global companies. With over a decade of experience in marketing, she found herself in her current role as a director of content marketing and communications at TytoCare. So, without further ado, please welcome Jo Braunold to the show. Joanna, are you ready to go behind the post with me?
I am.
Amazing. I'm so excited to get into all the details of this episode. But before we do, can you give our audience a brief rundown of your professional journey?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today. And I think my professional journey has been fairly unorthodox, I would say. I actually have a degree in design, in interior design. And I didn't want to do that, but I didn't know what I did want to do. And I kind of talked my way into my first marketing job. And really liked it, which I guess is a key sign that you're good at marketing when you can talk yourself into your own marketing job. And I moved to an agency, which I kind of considered to be my like marketing university experience. And then from there, I kind of moved and I worked at a series of startups and also at corporates. And with each role, I was very lucky to be able to expand my experience and also kind of grow my role so that over time, I learned a lot more about kind of the different areas of marketing and was able to kind of take some of them on as well. And I've now been at TytoCare for 2.5 years. And as I started here as a content writer, and I now lead content and communications.
Amazing. So for those of people who are listening who don't know, what does TytoCare do and what does your role entail?
Sure. So TytoCare is a virtual care company. Our solution is called the Home Smart Clinic, and it centers around a device which is about this big, and it's designed for patients to use, for users at home to use, and it lets them do medical exams from home. So like including throat, ears, lungs and heart, skin exams, and it connects them live with a clinician who can then review those exams live and diagnose them. It can also record the exams so the clinician can review them later. And it's really good for kind of parents, it's good for loads of people, but parents with middle of the night, kid wakes up screaming that their ear hurts. Instead of having to go to the ER in the middle of the night there, you can take out your TytoCare device, get live checked by a clinician, get a prescription, or within 20 minutes in the comfort of your own home. So I run, and that's kind of what the company does. We also have solutions for clinics, and we work with over 220 health organizations across the world. So serving thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, giving them better access to care, which is really our goal. And I run our content and communications, as I mentioned, which includes messaging, content creation for our website, case studies, testimonial videos, blogs, and also our PR and our social media, obviously, as is relevant here today. And I also work on running online events, webinars with our amazing ops team, and I work on speaking opportunities and presentations as well.
Amazing. So you do a lot there. There's
I
a lot.
don't sleep.
There's a lot of the marketing team you do, and I'm really interested to ask you because I know this is something that's important to you at TytoCare. But marketing teams and sales teams really need to be best friends, and communication between these teams is so important to driving business objectives. So I'm wondering if you can walk our listeners through how you keep your teams aligned.
Yeah, so I mean, we work really closely with the sales team, and I would say our marketing team ramped up actually when I arrived at the company, and it took a little bit of time to get there, but we were really able to kind of build trust with our sales team. It really helped that we use an ABX model, and it really helped that we were able to show them that we could really kind of surround the account with by communicating with key people. And once they started to see the impact that was having on their sales process, it really helped us to build that really great relationship. Our chief commercial officer and our chief marketing officer work really closely together, and we have a lot of kind of brainstorming, learning calls. Obviously, the sales guys are the ones kind of out there on a constant basis speaking to new potential partners. So it's really important for us to also listen to their feedback and learn from them. I would also say that our BDR team is kind of almost the glue that kind of bind the two pieces together, because they're the ones, doing a lot of the outreach, giving us a lot of the real-time feedback. And they also work really, really closely with both organizations.
Yeah, it's so interesting to hear because, as you said, there's so much that you can learn from sales teams when they go out and they speak to people. They know what people want to hear, they know what people want to learn. And I think also it works for two sides, that sales can also learn a lot from marketing. And now we've seen that B2B sales cycles have completely changed. Buyers are trading in conversations with sales reps to search online independently on social media. So it has so much value to offer sales teams when it comes to attracting customers as well. And you can nurture them while they're making purchasing decisions on social media. There's all different things that you can do. So because of this, social selling has become crucial and a must-have tactic for your sales teams to increase their sales opportunities to find these people when they're online. So I'm wondering how you got your sales teams actively involved in social selling.
So I think, again, it took a while. Yeah, I think anytime that you're asking somebody to do something that they've never done before, it's going to take them, especially when they already have busy days and they already have, stuff going on. It's always going to take a little bit of time. And I think patience is really key. And the other thing that I think really helped was having them do it hands-on. And we chose kind of key members of the sales team that we thought would be kind of open to testing something out. And then I slowly bullied them into doing it, gently and professionally, of course. And we got them started. And what we were able to then do was kind of see the successes that they were having. So we saw that, their social selling index was increasing. We saw that their rate of engagement was increasing over time. And we were able to then kind of leverage their results to onboard the rest of the sales team and kind of other key people across the company. Because once they were seeing that it was really working, then they were like, oh yeah, we want to be involved in that too.
Yeah, they want to be part of that end result. I've heard from so many people, and I can see how it works when you show someone, look, you can be part of this. We brought in X amount of customers, we found this many prospects, it can help you. That's when
Exactly.
I want to get towards that end goal as well.
Exactly.
So it's a really good strategy to get people involved. Um, as well as this, though, as well as social selling and building up thought leadership online and employee advocacy and even your corporate strategy, looking at the results and engagements that come from them is equally as important because they can reveal so much insight into what your audience is doing online and prospect behavior. But most teams have it in a silo. Like people aren't really, the marketing team has it. The marketing team can see and have access to what social engagements they're getting online. So when it comes to the organization, a lot of companies aren't leveraging it to its full potential. And we can talk about this for ages, but starting just on the sales side, and we'll move over to the marketing side soon. But how are you uncovering these social intent signals and sharing them with your sales team so they can then use them and act on these engagements?
Yeah, so of course, I mean, Octopus is a key part of that. And I think really the integrations with platforms like Salesforce are really what helps us the most. Obviously, the sales team, and again, you're asking kind of busy people who are already kind of running around and potentially flying to meetings. You can't start asking them to go somewhere else and to start learning a new platform and start kind of implementing a whole new set of methodologies into their day-to-day. So leveraging Salesforce and kind of pulling that data in there means that it is where they are going anyway. So first of all, the advocacy platform being integrated into there is great. But the data that is coming through Octopost being integrated directly into the information where we have our contacts and where we have our accounts is really key, because it means that, any good sales guy or anyone is going to make sure that they know who they're talking to before they get on the phone to them. And they're doing that by going into Salesforce and looking at what has happened in the past and what the last conversations have been. And in there, they also have all of this social selling or this social data as well. And I know that, from feedback that we've had from people across the team, the other thing that has been really helpful has been the social signal emails that kind of started coming out, that you guys started working on maybe like 4 months ago. But that's also been really key because people were kind of getting them and then and not without even having to go into Salesforce. It could be an account that maybe they weren't planning on engaging with in the next, 3 weeks, but suddenly they see that they've interacted with something super relevant. That's a really good touch point for them to just be like, hey, saw that you really like this, would love to chat more, or whatever it is, and our sales team have loved them. I actually had someone come up to me, and he said to me, that those emails that I've been getting, and my instinct was like, he's going to be like, stop sending me more emails, because that's fair enough. um, but he was like, they're really good.
Oh,
They're really good. I've made all my team read all of them every time, and I was like, this first of all, this is a much better conversation than I was hoping it was going to be, but this is really, really good, and like I'm really happy that we can provide them with this kind of data that's actively giving them better tools to be able to do their jobs, right? That's our goal as marketing, is to make
yeah.
is to help the company share its message, and to help the sales team share their message, and this is really enabling us to do that.
Yeah, I think everything you've said is so important. Like there's one thing is building up thought leadership online and sharing and finding prospects online and helping people make it, guiding people to make a decision, but also then seeing what people are interacting with and using that to fuel these conversations with prospects and leads
Yeah,
and sales cycles is so important, because you can see if someone's interacted with a blog on a certain topic, then you can lead a conversation based on that, rather
exactly.
than, it also helps than random reach out like, hey, I just want to loop back in and check everything's
Yeah,
okay. It gives you
yeah,
the conversation that can actually help educate them and provide them value, because that's what you
yeah.
need in the
And I
situation.
think that's really key, like, especially for our BDR team, right? They're the ones who are kind of making cold calls and like going out and like actively having to do reach out to people. And this kind of gives them some weapons to fight with, right? Like I saw that it might be their first call, it might be their second call with the people, it might be just before they set up a sales call, but either way they have a way to interact with them that talks to their personal interests, and not in a creepy way, not in a like, I saw you interacted with this, but like, we have our solution could help you with X, and then X is exactly what they already interacted with. Like this is like sneaking in through the back door. This is perfect.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. And it can help. It really does help with the cycles and push things along. And as I said, like sometimes it stays locked in marketing. And as you mentioned, they're not going to suddenly start going on social media, looking through every single person that's interacted with their post, then align them with every single person they're in conversation with. So it sort of unlocks it seamlessly and helps sales teams leverage it, which I also want to talk about how the marketing side can leverage it, because social data can also help you inform your strategy. So I'm wondering how it's impacted anything on the corporate side for you.
Yeah, I think kind of seeing what we're also kind of constantly cycling and learning and iterating. And I think seeing what people are engaging with is a key part of us understanding what we should potentially be talking about more, whether that's on social or whether it's in a blog or whether it's taking a look and saying, well, hang on, maybe we need to run a webinar around this topic. And I think that's definitely something that we've done a lot recently. We ran a online event, and the key way that we promoted it was on social. And by understanding which posts people were interacting with before the event helped us understand, because we had different messages on different graphics, and that really helped us understand kind of what people were most looking for at the event, and what people were would potentially be most interested in after the event as well. So in our follow-up emails to the people who attended, we emphasized the points that were most popular on social, which meant that we got negligibly higher open rate than usual, but hopefully we were really speaking to their pains and what they wanted to get out of the event.
Yeah, definitely. It really helps you understand your audience and your audience's needs. It's like almost in front of you exactly what they want to learn more about, but sometimes
Exactly.
you don't realize that those signals are there and it can show you. And it helps you in terms of your strategy as well as understanding your audience. Like this performed better, maybe we should continue going down this route. Or
Exactly.
So you can see how things are performing, what topics people are interested in, and it can help you create this engaging strategy and then build off of that. Like you said, maybe do a webinar on this, or maybe do a white paper on this, and just make it really relevant for your audience. So there's a lot of potential that social intent data has for both the marketing and the sales side. But I do kind of want to talk a little bit more about your marketing strategy, because I know that you do have B2C social accounts at TytoCare. Have your B2C social media strategies influenced your B2B marketing efforts? Because I think there's a lot we can learn from in B2B. We're still human. The person you're still talking to is still walking through a door as a person, not just as a business. So I think there are lessons to be learned, but I'm wondering if you've noticed any.
Yeah, so I think first of all, just to kind of explain, the reason that we have B2C accounts as well, is because obviously we work with healthcare organizations, but they are selling to the end user. You know, and it could be me, I have a Tyto device, it could be you, it could be, you know, hundreds of thousands of people across the US. And as in any time that we look at a new product, we want to make sure that this is a real product, that there are real people behind it. And so it's really important for us to have that B2C presence. We kind of centralize the management of those two kind of sides of our social about a year ago. And I would say the impact that has had has dramatically allowed us to positively impact both sides of our social media strategy. So first of all, and actually with the help of some of the data we pulled out of Octopost, we realized that a lot of our B2C leads were interacting with us on B2C, on our B2C network, so Instagram and Facebook. And that was kind of the first trigger for me where I was like, well, we always say like we know they're people, everyone's people, we need to interact with people like they're people, but it can be hard to like constantly do that on the B2C, on the B2B marketing side, because you kind of need to also push out content, like, and you need to like get people to sign up for events. So sometimes that for me was like a bright light of, hang on a second, if they like that meme that we're posting on Facebook, then why aren't we posting that meme on LinkedIn? And it was a great wake-up call for me as well, because it kind of gave me a little bit of a like, get out of the rut that you're in, which I think we can happen to all of us when we're like just kind of churning out social media posts. But we started posting some of our B2C content on our B2B channels. And they are really popular and they get massive interactions, and it's also ramping up kind of our engagement across other posts, because obviously we're kind of seeing that uplift across that the algorithm's giving us. And then interestingly, we've also started posting some of our B2B posts on our B2C channels gently and in a much kind of less like, not in a salesy way, in a like, oh, we want to share this news with you. And people were loving it. Like my assumption was like the mum using the TytoCare device who's living in like the middle of Ohio isn't going to care that like we launched a new element, that we launched our that we amped up our wheeze detection using AI. You know, it turns out they're really excited because they're all now really invested in this product that has made their lives significantly better. I mean, that's the feedback that we get overall from people, is this has improved my life dramatically. And when that happens, you're building an emotional connection with these people, and so they're actually now like really excited that we're doing all these things, and sharing news of new partners that we had. And it's kind of it's been a really interesting learning experience of how to get those two sides of our messages and two sides of our audience to work together. And I think we're still experimenting, but I'm really happy with the way things are going so far.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear also the B2B to the B2C side, because
That was a big shock for me, but you know, we started, and I think the good thing about social is you can always try something, and if it doesn't go well, so that's cool. Like, and we've got data and we've got analytics, and that we can leverage all of that to make sure that we're making smart decisions.
Yeah, the biggest thing I've ever learned in social media is you don't try, you don't know. And it's okay
Exactly.
to experiment. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but it could, so it's worth the shot in my
Worth
opinion.
giving it a go.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Definitely. So I want to ask, because obviously you've had a long career in marketing, and you're really involved in social media and all those things at TytoCare. So what is the greatest piece of social media advice that you've ever been given in your career?
So I think actually it kind of touches on what we just said, but my best piece of social media advice was probably like, don't be afraid to risk things. And I think that actually is something that I learned really early on. My first out of the agency, I moved to Amdocs, which is a big corporate here in Israel. And it's also quite a dry company. They do telecommunications, software and hardware. Um, and I was a social media manager. And it can be hard to work out how to make those things really personable. And this was right when Instagram came out. And our VP global marketing, who has been one of my mentors for a long time, said we have to have Instagram. And at the time, I found this a little bit crazy. Why do we don't have any images of anything. We don't have any pictures of anything. This is a picture-based social network. There was no data, there was no analytics there at the time, there was no data there at the time. Like, why were, and she was very insistent that we had to be on Instagram. So we did a lot of brainstorming, and we came up with some different ways to kind of leverage our messages and our ethos and use those as the theme of our Instagram, as opposed to kind of our stuff, because no one's going to be excited if you post a picture of a billing software. And it was really successful, and we did a competition to launch it, and we got really great engagement. Actually, we got really great engagement from the employees, and that really also helped us kind of learn the direction of where we could take this account in the future. And I think, if we would have listened to me, which was like, I don't think we should do this, I don't know if it's relevant, this is really more for artists and for young people, we never would have had that experience. And what she said to me is like, it's a new social network. If it doesn't go well, what's the worst that's going to happen? This is not going to affect our stock prices, and it really turned into this really amazing project where we got to share images, and we got to share things that were related to trying and doing, and it became very inspirational. And that's really kind of not being afraid to risk things was really kind of drilled into me with that project. And I like to think that I've kind of kept it up since then.
That's amazing. That's amazing advice to be given to you and also to anyone who's listening, because I think it's so relevant now. Social media is changing all the time, and algorithms are changing. There might be a new platform coming out at some point. We don't know. And it's so interesting to hear you were on the social media team when Instagram launched and you had to just run with it. And it's so important to take these risks, because as you said, the results that you gained were amazing. And look at what Instagram is now for businesses.
Exactly.
So with that, I want to say thank you so much for coming behind the post with me. I've loved having you, and I can't wait to share this episode and share your insights with everyone. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me.